notifying that they are unable to pay their rent due to the substantial loss of income or an increase in out-of-pocket expenses stemming from the pandemic. This form will be available on the Illinois Housing Development Authority website for easy access. Just visit that website at ihda.org. This new order also clarifies that enforcement of pre-pandemic eviction orders can indeed move forward if there are serious health or safety concerns. We extend this protection for housing stability as we ask Illinoisans in every part of the state to stay home as much as possible, because the situation we face now is increasingly dangerous for healthcare workers and hospital systems, especially in every part of our state. More Illinoisans are in the hospital battling COVID-19 now than we saw at our highest average in the spring. And increasingly, we have regions at risk for potential ICU bed shortages and staffing shortages as our case rates continue to rise. As our positivity grows, so does demand for testing. Today, we've reached a new high in our testing rate with 106,540 tests returned in the last 24 hours. Our 7-day testing average has now surpassed 93,000 tests per day, more than 10,000 higher than the next best testing state and more than 35,000 higher than the next best testing state in the Midwest. That's good news, and we're continuing to build on that as our capacity allows. Find the site nearest you to get tested at our website at dph.illinois.gov/testing. And check back regularly, because we offer mobile sites in new locations all the time to meet local need. And remember, these tests are free and fast and available to anyone who shows up, though some of our most visited community-based testing sites are hitting capacity before the end of their normal operating hours, so come early if you can. Please use our testing resources. The earlier you test, the more likely you can limit the spread of the virus to your family, friends, and coworkers. But it's not enough to test alone. So let's wear our masks, avoid gatherings, and follow public health mitigations. In addition to the health benefits to you, you'll be helping protect our heroic healthcare workers. Remember, they're now working extremely long hours like they did last spring, actively saving lives on the front lines of this pandemic. Preventing the spread of COVID helps keep our healthcare workers healthy. And in the midst of this COVID storm, protecting nurses and doctors may mean the life of someone you care about will be saved, maybe even yours. Thank you, and with that, I'd like to turn it over to the Director of the Department of Public Health, Dr. Ngozi Ezike.
Good afternoon, and happy Friday the 13th. As we head into the weekend, I want to issue a plea for people to stay home as much as possible. I know on Fridays, TGIF, people are thinking about the weekend. You want to get together with friends, and you want to get out, and you want to do things. But the truth remains that the virus is running rampant through our communities and throughout our whole state and throughout neighboring states, the entire country. And the more people go out and move out and are in contact with others, the greater the potential of spread of this virus and the longer this pandemic will last. If we want to be able to go out to eat, to finally have that wedding that's been postponed since the spring, to visit family and friends, we need to stay home now to be able to achieve that later. And the only way we can begin to get back to normal is to reverse the trend, to decrease the number of people getting infected every day, to decrease the number of individuals getting into the hospital, to decrease the number of deaths. And to do this, we just have to decrease the opportunity of the virus to spread in the first place. I know there's COVID fatigue, but we have to be on guard against complacency. It's easy to want to fall back into our old ways and give up on this virus. getting together with coworkers on breaks for lunch, not maintaining distance, going out for breaks outside without distance, without masks. These type of behaviors is what led to a recent outbreak at a long-term care facility. And in this facility, we have identified over 160 new cases because of some of that complacency and fatigue. Please know that this virus can spread quickly, and it's gaining on us and getting ahead of us, especially in long-term care facilities where we have our most vulnerable individuals. This can happen anywhere. So if you've been vigilant and want to loosen up, please, now is not the time. We can continue to make progress, but we all have to stay doing these things that are so essential. This is an invisible enemy, but has very visible consequences, consequences that are palpable. And if we let our guard down, we will let the enemy take us over. Please continue to take all the precautions so that we can eventually win this war, and sooner rather than later. As the governor mentioned, in the last 24 hours, more than 106,000 tests were resulted, which is an all-time high for us, for a total of more than 8.8 million tests since this pandemic began. Unfortunately, 5,362 individuals are reported to be in the hospital with COVID-19, and of those, 990 patients were on ventilators, and 990 were in the ICU, and 488 were on ventilators. Again, since passing that 5,000 mark, we've been increasing every day, and these are all-time highs, breaking any numbers that we saw in Wave 1. Since yesterday, 15,415 new cases, new individuals in Illinois that were not previously diagnosed with COVID-19 have been reported, for a total of 551,957 cases. We have received report of 27 additional deaths in the past 24 hours, but I have to put an asterisk by that 27. There were some data systems that connect with each other that experienced a delay, and that delay has resulted in information for the last 24 hours not being complete. And so I want to say that in advance, because tomorrow we will have additional numbers from today plus tomorrow's totals. Each of our individual actions will determine our path going forward. I say that we are all authors, that we have the pen with which to write the next chapter. And that can be a chapter of further gloom and doom, or it can be a chapter where we actually turn this around. Remember that the more we go out, the more we get together, the more we travel, the more events we attend, the longer this pandemic will last, and the gloomier that next chapter will be. Please, Governor Pritzker talked about the heroes on the front line. We all have the chance to be a hero. We all can be a part of saving lives by just wearing our mask, watching our distance, and washing our hands. And please remember, your mask needs to cover both your nose and your mouth. I know a lot of masks being worn under the nose, and or even under the chin. That's obviously not going to be beneficial. So thank you, and now I will repeat the comments in Spanish.